Hi everyone, so I wanted to talk about my prerequisite list. Now, this is the list of books that I believe that everyone in my life to get to know me better should read. So I always encourage them to read these books because for people, like, there's so many things that shape the person that they are, and these are the books that have done that for me. And so I'm always encouraging everyone in my life, like, please read them, and so we can also talk about them. And I know that even for them, these books will shape them in like a more positive way as well. So I wanted to just talk about a few of them, because a lot of them I actually don't have on hand because I've lent them out to friends and family because I really wanted them to read. And I feel like if I also just talked about them, all the books in general, this video would be hours long. So I'm just going to talk about a few of them, and hopefully it'll encourage you guys to read them as well, because I feel like these are amazing books and they're so special. They're just, I feel like they're just only will bring more good into everyone's life. So let's get into it. Okay, so let's talk about Bluets by Maggie Nelson. Now, this is one of my most reread books. I am constantly shoving this in everyone's face that I am friends with or know. I'm like, please read this. I promise this book is going to change your life, because it's amazing how an author who talks about the color blue can transcend into talking about love, loss, grief, and friendship. It's incredible. I can't believe it. And her words are so poetic and lyrical. you just want to underline every single passage. It's so beautiful. And I just can't. This is one of those books where it's going to leave this lasting impression on you, where you're just going to constantly be thinking about it all the time, because the connection that you feel, it's amazing. And it's one of those books that reminds me why I love to read and why books are so incredible, because when an author can so perfectly describe how you're feeling and you're just left in awe, like finally somebody put into words how I'm feeling and how I've always been feeling, and it just makes you really happy. And this is one of those books that I always pick up and I'm like, I will never tire of this. And I'm so happy that there are writers like Maggie Nelson out there who can write such beautiful words for people like me, and I want everyone to read it so you can also appreciate this amazing book. Okay, so the next book I want to talk about is Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami. Now, this was my first book that I read by him, and it led me into his amazing world. So this is a really sad book. It's on my sad book list, but the journey you take is amazing. I feel like at the end, I felt like I lived this entire life, and I was just, for a long time after I read this book, was just like, what am I supposed to do? How could he leave me with this story, and now what am I doing? What am I supposed to do with my life? But I think everyone who wants to start his work should start with Norwegian Wood, even though it's the most different book that he's written, because there's no magical realism, but it's beautiful, the story is amazing, and it's just gonna last with you forever. So Norwegian Wood. Okay, so the next book I want to talk about is Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. I'm so sorry if I pronounced his name wrong. I haven't ever heard of it, like heard it out loud before, so, but that was my best attempt at it. So this book is one of my all-time favorite books. The first time I read this, I had no idea what the story was about. I just went in blind, and it was one of the best decisions, honestly. I think reading the synopsis, knowing anything about the plot is useless. All it's going to do is ruin the book for you. What you are here for when you read the book is the characters, the feelings, the setting. It's amazing. When you read this book, it's like you're going to live this entire life. It's an incredibly immersive read, and it's going to break your heart so thoroughly by the end. It made me feel so blue. I think it was like a solid month and a half where I was just like lost because I just couldn't stop thinking about this book. It was incredible. I feel like the way it changed my heart, it's just like left this incredibly lasting impression, and I don't think I'll ever forget it. So never let me go. I think everyone needs to read this, and please, I'm warning you now, do not read the synopsis. Just pick up the book and read it. That's all. Okay, so the next book I want to talk about is Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. Now, I've actually lent this out to a friend because it's one of my prereq books and I need them to read it before we can hang out. So I have Gone Girl and I have Dark Places by her. And so I want to talk about Gillian Flynn in general first. So she's one of the best authors of this genre, in my opinion. So like thrillers, because the way she writes stories, it's like, usually when you read a thriller, you're like waiting for this twist or turn, but that's not like what you're doing with her. You're just like completely immersed in the story and you're just following along, and the characters are so well written that you're like, you're just there with them. And so what I really appreciate from her is that she writes flawed characters, especially women. And you don't see that often because most of the time people are trying to write women who are likable. But Gillian Flynn doesn't do that because, there's so many layers to us that they're so, that we're more complex than just that. So like Sharp Objects is amazing. I think when I read it, I was so creeped out the entire time I was reading it, and I couldn't believe like a book was doing this to me. Like I was there in so many scenes. Like I actually felt like I was next to her the entire time, and I was shocked that a book was able to do that to me. And that's why it's still like anytime anybody is ever asking for a recommendation in the thriller genre, I'm like, Sharp Objects. Read it. You're going to love it. And then there's an HBO miniseries, which was done so well because Gillian Flynn wrote for it. So it's like right after you finish reading the book, then you can watch the series and just appreciate how incredible this author is, because she's one of the best. Like, she makes you appreciate the genre so much. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was like, I know I don't really go in depth into the synopsis or what the books are actually about because I feel like everyone can read the back cover, and it would just be me regurgitating this information that you can get so easily. What I like to talk about when I'm reviewing or telling my thoughts about something is how it made me feel, how it changed me, and how it affected me. So I hope that was helpful and made it made you interested in the book, because I really truly believe these are some incredible books and that will change your life in some way or another. And even if they don't change your life, honestly, I feel like they're such amazing reads that they are going to keep you company and you're going to be so happy by the end when you finish reading them. So I hope this was helpful. I hope this was an informative video. I was trying to do that, and I know this was just part 1, so hopefully I will make a part 2 where I talk about more books that I feel like are incredible and everyone should read. So I hope you all enjoyed this. Bye.